Join us live on the Sherry Lord Talk Show podcast. Start your day off with a higher vibrational podcast with weekly guests covering spirituality, healthy foods, and so much more. Go to SherryLord.com for more info. Hey, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. We love having you. And if you feel guided, please ask a question or chat. Let us know you're here and please help us share it. So if you like this, just share it and help us get the word out. And we are so excited. So much is happening in the world right now. And we have a special guest with us. She's been on our show before and we love her. And she's here in Florida. And who we have here is Reverend Dr. Sharon-Elizabeth James, and she's wonderful. Her topic today, and it's going to be very interesting because this is what's happening right now, and she's going to talk about all the wonderful things that she has going on at her services that she has, and she'll talk all about that. Existing the Matrix according to the Gnostic Gospels. We're so excited to have you. Thank you, Reverend Sharon, for visiting us and being on our show.
Thank you so much, Sherry. I'm so happy to be here. And yeah, I think that title, Exiting the Matrix, this is something that has been since thousands and thousands of years, but to say the most recent, I would say, is the Gnostic Gospels, which first was found as the Dead Sea Scrolls. And that was the that was the codexes that they found. That was like, for example, the Sophia that was found. And then in 1940s, the Nag Hammadi, was found in Nag Hammadi, Egypt. And the story goes, a shepherd boy, and he's up in a cave and a slingshot, and he hears shards. And it's this ancient manuscripts that somebody took the time to hide this information. And there's so many ancient information that it's not in our awareness in our modern society. And if you look at human nature, power doesn't want to give up power. So for example, Constantine, he's not giving up his power. And he had the Council of Nicaea, early on. And at that time, they made decisions as to what came into, the canonical gospels, which means like the ones that we say is okay, and the ones that were not in alignment with their thought, which there was many alignments of just these amazing scholars and holy people that said, wait a minute, there's also this to consider. So who's in charge? Constantine, all right, and he had his little group of bishops or whoever you want to call them got together, and they're saying this is going to be the official narrative that we are saying is going to happen. And that narrative says, that Jesus came to save humanity, and that you have to do a bunch of good things and come through the church, the authority, Roman Catholic Church. Then at some point there was a split to the Eastern, and it's split up ever since that time, but just keeping on the original. And then and anything that is not that is heresy. Anything that is not that. And there was a very concerted effort, because the early Christians, like in the Coptics in Egypt, how they're thinking of Christianity, Jesus the Christ, is different than what we think today. Right? And there's an adage that says all that has been hidden will be revealed. And we're in the time of the Great Awakening. We're in the time of the Great Revelations right now, how these ancient texts and other texts as well that has been interpreted, where scholars have started to interpret these ancient language to see what they have to say. And so it's a plethora of information that we have not been exposed to that is very, very important. So what is the exit?
I'm really excited about you and what you're explaining to our audience so they have a better understanding.
Yeah. So let's talk about the word matrix, which is a new term,
Yes.
right? Exiting the matrix. Well, for those people that did see that show, The Matrix, that was out. A lot of us saw it. If you didn't see it, it is worth seeing The Matrix. And I think they have three: part one, part two, part three. But I would say part one would be the most important one. And actually, now I understand the writers of The Matrix. I
Yeah.
believe their mother was a shaman. They had some esoteric knowledge. They had to, because it is based. The idea
Mhm.
behind it was very much based. And that is why it resonated, just like Star Wars, resonated to the collective mind. You couldn't put your finger on it, but you said there's something about this that I deeply resonate to. And I actually watched The Matrix, Sherry, over 50
Wow.
times. Over 50 times when it first came out, because I was trying to figure out. First, I wanted to understand every single thing this movie said, because it was a message in there. And I was trying to decipher that, especially towards the end. You have the architect, and he's saying this is the sixth time Neo is coming again. I'm trying to figure that out. Well, I'm happy to say I did figure it out finally after watching it 50 times and also going through life experience that led me to the Gnostic Gospels. So I guess I'll start from the beginning as to why I would even, how did this come about? Well, from the very beginning, when I came onto the planet, I kind of had my awakening from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I was born into this, and I was suspicious from day one. I was like, I don't know. First of all, I was very upset I was here. Let's put it that. I was very, very upset. I was very traumatized that I was on this planet. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? It's a mistake.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
So after I kind of got through that trauma part of it, which I still have abandonment issues, because I felt like some space family just dropped me off here and left. But at any rate, as I started to look at the world, and then it was just so hard on my heart. It was just, I was looking, there was some beautiful things about the world, and I had a beautiful
Yeah.
family, a great parents, and they did the best that they could do. So I had a good childhood. I really did. But I looked at the world, and that's what was hurting my heart, because I could tell from pretty young, things don't look all that great. There's suffering in the world, there's war, there's prejudice, just those
Yeah.
kind of things. And so I went to a Catholic school from kindergarten. So I had a very specific Catholic
Mhm.
experience. But at two and a half years old, I had an experience with one could call cosmic consciousness. I was two and a half
Mm.
years old,
Wow, that
little
was
body.
young.
Yeah, 2.5 years old, little body, standing by my parents', wall in their apartment. And I experienced cosmic consciousness. I was one with everything. I knew I came here for a reason. I had a mission. So from early on, I was all about, I'm here for a mission. I'm supposed to do something. I'm supposed to do something. And many of us have that experience. Like, I think I'm supposed to do something. And part of our journey is trying to figure out, what is my mission? What am I supposed to
Yeah.
do? So that was always a theme going on. The other theme going on with me after I had that experience is the indoctrination that all of us are born into. We're born into indoctrination. We're born into,
Yeah.
this is how it is. This is how it's always been.
Yeah.
This is the school you're going to, and that's it. But the things that I was hearing, and I guess I was very blessed, from early, I was like, I don't know if I'm jiving along with that. I'm feeling something different. But of
Doesn't resonate.
Exactly. But of course, early on, we're taught to hand your power over to these authorities, right? So
Yeah.
you just go along with the program. But I did have a defining moment that had led me to where, as a scholar, going into a different direction to do my own research. And that was when, I don't know, I think, well, there's two things that happened. One, in the first grade, came across a beautiful nun. She really came from love. She really did. I could feel the love. She loved children. In fact, she became a cloister, I understand, later on. That was in the first grade. In the second grade, it was the Antichrist. Okay, so
Oh.
a complete opposite. and so early on, I saw light and I saw dark right from the beginning.
Yeah.
It was there right in my face. And so then the other factor in the same elementary school were certain things they were saying. There's no such thing as
Yeah.
reincarnation. Like, I don't think that's true. But the key thing that
Yep.
happened is when you're little, they have a flip chart. You see like a god with the white beard and, for love, 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 love. And then they flip the chart over. You see the devil and, people suffering and stuff. And so I
Wow.
had asked the question. I had said, how can a God of love? The problem was you would go to hell forever, like no redemption. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I'll do it a million lifetimes. Can I have some sort of thing? So I was just saying, how could you say a God of love can create such a scenario like that? Why would somebody even want to exist if that's like eternity? So I didn't. So I asked the question. And the teacher at the time, the nun at the time, I guess it was a profound question. She couldn't answer it. And so she said in front of the entire class that was a stupid question, and that if nobody can ask an intelligent question, don't ask any question at all. Well, that shut the whole class down. Everybody was shut down.
Yeah.
But that was a defining moment that could have crushed me. But under my breath, I said, it's not a stupid question.
Yeah.
And I believe that was the defining moment where I started to seek, sort of an independent path. Like, I want to know for myself. I did various things. Like, I asked the question, and I asked a nun, a priest, and a brother, because they had them at the time, the three, and I got slightly different answers from them. So my experiment said, hey, they had different answers from them, then my answer too is just as valid. So that set me on my way. So now I always was suspicious, that of this world. Always felt I was not getting the whole story. I always felt that from the beginning, like I'm not trusting this world at all. So I started off with that. And then as, time came on and the Gnostic Gospels, and now you have the internet, and now you have accessibility to information we never had before. You could get the Library of Congress on your phone.
Yeah.
So nobody can say, oh, gee, I don't know how to have access. We have access through the age of Aquarius, okay, which is the age of communication and technology. We now have access to just about everything that we would want to get. So as you know, with the Cosmic Center, that's a whole thing that happened, and that's with the Ascended Masters, and that was set on early on that was going to take place, almost like a destiny. So, I've been in my sort of destiny, if you will, or in my dharma for a while now, as being head of the Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light, which is very different. We're 1% of the 1% of the 1%, because, we are not like a regular church or, a mega church. We're not meant to be that.
Right.
We're something else, and very connected with the Ascended Masters, which is a whole nother story. But suffice to say that, been doing this now 14 years. This month is actually 14 years. The Cosmic Center has been around against all odds. And I will tell you, against forces that would not want us around, but here we are.
Yeah.
And in that process, started really got exposed about the Gnostic Gospels. I knew them, but got more exposed to it through the teachings of the Keys of Enoch with the Academy of Future Science.
Yeah, the
Dr.
Enoch.
Hertak, yeah. And they refer to the Gnostic Gospels. And now you can anybody could go on and just type in Gnostic Gospels. They have an entire library of all the Gnostic Gospels you could get online. You don't even have to buy the books. And so I started to read the Gnostic Gospels. And when I started to read them, it made sense to me. I said, oh my gosh, this absolutely makes sense. So basically, this is what the Gnostic Gospels are saying. And there's so many layers, but I'm going to try to put it in a summary form. Basically, we're co-creators. Would you agree? We are co-creators. We can create. So to understand this, you're going to have to understand that if we're co-creators, that means there are other beings, and hopefully your audience do understand we're not the only beings in this multiverse. I'm sure your audience is at the point they
Right.
understand we're not the only ones here. Thank goodness. Okay, so you have to know that there's so much life in this multiverse. You know, so many beings, so many expressions of the one creator. Right. So if we're co-creators, and we understand that there are other perhaps beings that also co-create as well. So the story of the Gnostics say that they, and Thoth, by the way, also speaks of this. This is like, I'm just summarizing these huge volumes of books. Basic say first you have something that's called the pleroma. The
Right.
pleroma. And the pleroma is that these aeons, okay, of, you could say, archetypes like wisdom and love and compassion, archetype type things. And they came like in pairs. So Sophia, which means wisdom, was one of these archetypes, okay? And this story goes that Sophia and her want to go to the ineffable, okay, which even Thoth says is a point of unknowability. You can't describe it, it's whatever. But she is trying to say, for her love of love and the light, she went ahead without asking permission or without her, her counterpart, and fell. So that's why they say that this is a fallen world, a fallen universe. She fell. Her story is our story in that she's trying to come back up to that pleroma. And all of this is symbolic, obviously, too, and describing it in a way that we can understand it. So to bring it in more concrete terms, what it's basically
Okay.
saying is that as a result of this fall, this being created, known as the demiurge, comes from many different names, but demiurge is the most popular one, which it is a creator god with a small g, okay, with a small g, not the God with capital G. And he is a blind God, an ignorant God. He doesn't even understand that there's anything above him. He's just in this place and he just decides to create, and he creates the material world. So basically, what the Gnostics are saying is that the world that we are living in, okay, is a matrix. It's like the word for this was known as Maya. Maya in Sanskrit and in Buddhism, Maya. It's what it says is the world of illusion. And I couldn't understand that for years. What do you mean it's a world of illusion? If you put your
Okay.
finger on fire, right? You're going to feel nothing illusionary about that. It hurts. What it means is the world that we are moving around in, okay, that says you are the body, basically. This is my hand, me,
Yep.
this is what I look like. So they said, no, no, no. You could look at this as this is our avatar. Who we
Right.
are comes from the highest of aeon. That's our true identity. Our true identity comes from the highest of the aeons, right? And because of the fall, and there's many different variations of it, but here we find an aspect of ourselves that comes from the highest of aeons, that light, that love, okay, that has tremendous power, okay? That aspect is trapped in a
Okay.
materiality. And the materiality of this world was not created by, say, the supreme or the source.
Mm-hmm.
And so where we are now is sort of Sophia's journey of going back to our true identity, waking up out of the illusion, waking
Right.
up out of the dream.
That's beautiful the way you explained it. Um, I love it. I love what you're doing. I love how you explain things and our audience can get a better understanding. Um, Yeah,
Yeah.
through your perception, it was really interesting.
So there is, so now let me talk about gnosis now. Okay, so that was the
Yeah,
matrix, also known as Maya, or known as the world of illusion. And by the way, this is a theme that's all around the world, all cultures and their ancient thing. They're saying the world is not what you think it is. That's basically it. You are not the body. Okay, that's what they're saying, but you're bound. So that's where the reincarnation comes in, right? Because you go and you come back again. So as the Buddhists say, you're in samsara. Okay, you keep on coming back. So the goal now is to get out of the wheel of reincarnation. Now, does being here teach lessons? There's not just one thing. There's many layers. Absolutely. The world, you could say, is a schoolhouse. We
right.
develop here too, but at some point what happens is that there's like a glass ceiling, like, okay, I got this now, I need to move on, and there's something stopping it. It's like a glass ceiling. You keep on coming back, reincarnation, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. How do you get out of that? Okay, and that is the exiting the matrix part of it. So, how you get out of it is by receiving gnosis. Gnosis means direct knowledge. Okay, so basically, they said, look, you don't have to go through a preacher, you don't have to go through a priest, you don't have to go through another authority.
Right.
Okay, because Jesus the Christ said, okay, the kingdom of God is within you. So the whole thing of gnosis is saying, wait a minute, Jesus, this is the whole culprit of what the theme of what the Gnostics are saying. Jesus came not to save you, to wake you up.
Yes.
Jesus came to wake you, like,
Yeah.
shake up, wake up, wake up. You are not this. Okay. You are
Mhm.
not the body. You are from the highest of aeon, but you
Mhm.
forgot. You forgot who you are, and you think that this is real, that this world is the all in all, that you born, you die, that's it. Hopefully, there's something that happens afterwards, but that's it. And so, the whole idea of now we're receiving gnosis, which gnosis is coming, the great
Yeah.
awakening, the solar flares, the things that are coming in now, the light codes, our prayers, our meditations, us seeking, knocking on the door, to
Yeah.
say what's going on. All of us have to follow that inner voice that says, seek, seek, there's more, there's more. And then you will get to a point of complete liberation. You will get to the point of liberation where death is no longer fearful. And
Yeah.
Jesus the Christ said in the scriptures, he said, when you have conquered death, you are free. And there's many people now on the planet that have reached that level,
Yeah.
where when you have a higher understanding of what this
Hmm.
is. Now, people like myself, like your audience, okay,
Yeah.
what are we here to do? What can we do? Well, first of all, you're going to keep on seeking on
Yeah.
your own personal path. Okay, seek. The knowledge is out there. And you do whatever spiritual disciplines that you have, meditations, your prayers, whatever that is. But you are choosing to follow your path of light.
Yes.
And you hold a higher heart of compassion and unconditional love. Okay, when you do that, that is your armor of God. You can be anywhere and do everything, and you are divinely protected and you're divinely guided because you're walking your path of light. Once you come into that higher alignment of your higher
Yeah.
self, you're bringing in that energy. And as you do this, Sherry, then the revelations, just like the spirit, the gifts of
Yeah.
the Holy Spirit are real. Those are real. Gifts of the Holy Spirit is a real thing for people who experience it. Gnosis is a real thing because I experienced gnosis, and it was fairly recently, about, I would say, within the year. It's like, you have a certain level, then the next level, and then you get
Yeah.
to one point of complete um gnosis, knowing no one has
Yes.
to talk to you, you don't have to you know it directly. And when that
Exactly.
happens, you see the program, We're like, oh my gosh. You see the Matrix. You're like, oh my gosh. And for people to understand this, okay, you cannot understand it from this 3D level that we're operating at the moment. You can't, because you're in it. So you have to go beyond the gravitational pull of the planet,
Exactly.
beyond the frequency, into the higher celestial levels,
Yeah.
of which you are a part of that, to look and see what this cage is. I call it an energetic cage. So
Yeah.
how I can define it really quickly, how I see it in my mind that I think is easier to people understand. Say, for example, you have a fish tank, right? But in that fish tank, you have the fish, okay, and that fish is living its life in the fish tank. And then, but in fact, that fish tank is inside an ocean. Okay. And so somebody created this little fish tank, put some of the things in there, but it's really an ocean of what those fish belong to. But it's constricted at the moment in this energetic cage that we'll call that fish tank. Then you'll have some of the adventurous fish that say, I want to see what's beyond this wall, right? But
Yeah.
they bump their head. They bump their head, right? So they start the tradition. Listen, they tell the children and the grandchildren, you can't go beyond that wall, okay, because you will get hurt. So everybody has to stay within this little fish tank, okay? And this is our world. But then you have one adventurous person saying, I don't know, I think there's more to the world. Why are we doing this? Because great, great, great grandfather fish said we should, and this is our tradition. So you have the one black sheep in the family, okay, that decides to look and sees that there's an opening if you go in the top in the corner. And so that little fish goes out and says, oh my gosh, there's so much
much more.
So he can go in his way, but he says, no, let me tell everybody else, So he comes back, he says, listen, everybody, there's so much more out there. And
Mhm.
the rest of the village says, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. You're not conforming. Okay. You are, and all the black sheeps that are out there will know exactly what I'm talking about. When you talk and you say, this is not making sense, I'm understanding this. And then you have a group of people around you that just don't understand that they've been so indoctrinated. They have been so conditioned, right? But
Yeah.
then light workers are here to get out of the indoctrination,
Yep.
to get out of the conditioning, to question everything, question everything. And there's a joke that I say, some of your audience may know it, but I'll say it anyway to get the point across. And that is, there's a couple got married, and the wife used to make a roast, and she would always cut the end off. And the husband asked, why do you do that? She says, well, my mother's done it. It's a tradition in my family. And so he sees the mother. He says, why are you cutting the end off of this roast? She says, well, my mother's always done it. It's a tradition in my family. Then he got to the grandmother, the great grandmother, where this started. And he said, why are you cutting the end of the roast? And, the grandmother, the great grandmother said, because my pan was too small. Right. So we have to understand that what are we agreeing to? What are we following? Is it anchored in truth? Is it relevant to who we are now? These are the questions we have to ask ourselves. Am I handing my power over, or am I being empowered? Am I in my integrity? Am I not in my integrity? Am I in my authenticity?
Yeah.
Am I in my authenticity? That's a very powerful question to ask yourself, because you are a creation of the divine source. Okay.
Yep.
And it's that part of you, that monad, that soul that is trying to get to your attention through the noise. Okay. Saying you have a right to be, and it's important for you to be your authentic self, so you can bring your light to this world by being who you truly are. And that's the first step, is having the courage to be your authentic self, and then doors will open up. You will knock on the doors and the doors will open. The information will come, the knowledge will come, the wisdom will come, and you'll be liberated. You'll be free.
That's beautiful. We loved all the advice, and your stories are just amazing to help us relate and to advance and to grow.
Mhm.
And a lot of tools there. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
also know that we really want you to share with our audience. You are doing these really enlightened retreats, and I think can you talk a little bit more about the retreats
Yes, yes,
and what
yes.
you're doing with the Cosmic Center and all that? But we want our audience to know, to get a hold of you if they want to do the
Oh,
retreat.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, first of all, we're going to do a Mary Magdalene divine feminine retreat. You know, there's the rising up the divine mother. Can't stop her now. We have to bring that
Exciting.
equilibrium. The divine masculine and divine feminine have to be equalized. So we're having that retreat. Is coming up in April 7th. It's going to be profound for those who resonate to that. It's going to be in Sedona, and it's going to be in this amazing container, a home among the red rocks to hold and anchor this energy. So how can you reach us? Well, Cosmic Center Spiritual Light. Okay, you could go on our website, you Google Cosmic Center Spiritual Light. We're located in Sarasota, Florida. The exact email, the exact website is ccosl.com. But Cosmic Center, you'll find us. We're located at 5041 Ringwood Meadow in Sarasota, Florida. And so I would say go to the website. When you go to our website, you'll see on the bottom there where you can sign up for our newsletter. Okay. And so that, and then go into our calendar of events, and you can see everything that's going on. And you can also reach me directly that way. There is by email, Cosmic Center OSL@gmail.com. And that's how you can reach me directly. Also, too, I'd like to invite everybody for Saturday, March 21st, which is the spring equinox. We're having a historical review of the Cosmic Center, how it came about, the Ascended Masters. We have pictures that are just phenomenal. Like, people say, is this real? Yes, it is. Captured. So people were wondering, are we living am I interdimensional? Yes, you are. Here's some pictures to prove that to you. And then it's also going to it's going to be, because it is about spring and growth, about prosperity. All light workers now need to be prosperous. We all need to, because we need to do our job. We all have to be prosperous. So I encourage everybody to please participate, come in person, or you could also go online and participate as well. And you'll see that in our calendar of events on our website.
Thank you so much, Sharon. And we'll also have it on our website so that you can just click a link and get there as well. And we bless you on your journeys. Thank you so much for being on our show. And we appreciate all our audience that watch us every Tuesday and that helps us get the word out and share. Thank you so much, and blessings to all, and a prosperous year as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sherry.
International psychic medium and podcast host Sherry Lord. She is one of the most sought after psychic mediums. Book your special readings. Go to www.sherrylord.com.